Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Arda Deniz Dokuzoglu with us today. He's co-founder and CEO at Gene Biotechnology. He's also founder of a couple of startups. One is a stealth, Labrador is another one. Serial entrepreneur we have here today with us. He is in Palo Alto, Cali. I am in Montreal, Canada. We're going to talk about a whole lot of interesting topic today: research, biotech, everything in between. This pod is brought to you by podpire.com. If you want to start your own podcast, scale it, and monetize the unconventional way, go to podpire.com. Arda, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and about what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having me. My name is Arda. I'm a synthetic biology entrepreneur. I have founded Gene Biotechnology back in 2015. My background is bioengineering. I had my master's degree in biotechnology, and my focus on Gene Biotechnology was more on synthetic life and developing new tools for genetic engineering, novel tools that actually, increase the speed, decrease the cost of genetic engineering. And we got lucky with Gene Biotechnology. We raised a couple rounds in Palo Alto, and the company managed to develop world's first synthetic viroid, which is a virus without a capsid. And yeah, it was quite an achievement. Afterwards, I started to see the problems with the industry, how genetic engineering companies was struggling, how entrepreneurs were having difficulties in their ventures in developing their minimum viable products, their first prototypes. Then I decided to start a new concept, which is inspired by biohacker spaces, hacker houses, and a bit of hostels. So we combined these three, and in Istanbul, Turkey, we started Labrador, which is a biohack house. So people lived there, entrepreneurs lived there. They also had a lab inside to develop their prototypes, and we had our social events there. So yeah, after these two companies, I went into consulting into 2021. Right now, I'm investing, also developing a new startup. Gene Biotechnology also continues to develop new therapeutics. So yeah, I have multiple ventures now. Right now, I'm actually based in Athens for quality of life. And yeah, this is how it looks like right now.
So, what does the world needs in terms of the skill that you have? What can you offer the world with this unique skill set that you've developed?
I would say the most prominent thing that I could offer is the understanding of life in the scope of viruses, so that also evolution as well, so that we can develop the most efficient ways of biological discovery. So I can actually exploit viruses and exploit evolution in the context of viral life, to discover new proteins, new enzymes, new biological structures much faster. So I think this is the most important part of it.
And is it to cure diseases? Is it to create new materials? Is it for longevity? What would be the application of these skills concretely?
Yeah, mainly it is new therapeutics, new materials in the in protein structure, let's say, because viruses are good for protein evolution. We use this technique in vitro, in vivo. So yeah, mostly therapeutics, but it can be beneficial for discovering anything that is based on proteins.
Right. And you have so many ventures. How do you split your time nowadays? How much time in the lab? How much time investing? How much time managing your portfolio of companies?
It's right now it's 30 to 70. 70 goes into my investing and consulting, and 30 into managing my R&D companies, split between Gene and and Ionics, which is a longevity company. Um, but yeah, I'm mostly on the managing side. We have teams in the lab, who are responsible of getting these technologies to market. Um, yeah, so yeah, that's how I split it. It's quite difficult. Still, it's still a challenge for me to use all the time available for me in a day and still have some time for myself, and run these multiple companies. But yeah, I think I'm about to nail it.
Nice. And what problems is humanity facing? Cancer, longevity? Which one would you like to?
I mean, longevity is a broad topic. It's not when we say longevity, it actually means a lot of things. Cancer is, I can say, a sub group of things related with longevity. Cancer is actually right now the focus in gene biotechnology. We are developing new viruses that are helpful to treat cancer. They are used in combination with other therapies, and they drastically increase their efficiency and efficacy. So cancer is definitely something we're interested in, but it moves slow compared to other fields. And on the longevity side, with Ionics, we're actually more interested in monitoring longevity. So there is a bunch of solutions or bunch of proposed um, treatments for longevity, let's say. But the problem here is we don't have an optimized and reliable technique to monitor the progress on longevity. We use supplements, we do certain types of sports or activities. We stick to certain diets, but we don't have actually a standardized way of evaluating how beneficial are these. So with Ionics, we're more focused on providing a solution to consumers, directly to consumers, to clock their biological age in a very accurate way using machine learning and a huge amount of biomarkers collected in a single tube of blood. Um, and yeah, we use that technology to provide a solution to monitor yourself, your progress. How does a supplement you start to take benefits you, like how many ages literally you gained through that supplement, right? So yeah, that I think is the main focus currently, one of the biggest challenges, and I think it's we're quite close to solve that issue.
How close and how do you estimate how close you are?
Right now, we're looking into accuracy tests. We're around 98%, and we have very good performance values from the tests that we compare with the we have a clinical base, and we compare it with public data. And it is, I think we're 6 months to a year away from launching it. And by the time we launch, we're going to have plus minus 8 years of accuracy to chronological age. It includes the biological performance, which is a good number, with I think around 80% of accuracy combined. So plus minus 8 with 80% accuracy, which is quite enough, and well, way better than what is in the market right now. So I think it's going to be very effective.
And is capital drying up in the industry right now in biotech? Is the situation going better now?
Definitely. This is the reason why we don't invest in developing the treatments, and rather chose the path to develop the computer-based technologies first, because they burn like with the same amount of money, we actually develop much more value. It is easier to do that, less riskier, and definitely the money is drying up. We don't know for how long it's going to continue this way. When again we're going to have more money and more liquidity in the field, so that we can invest more heavily into higher risk products and services. But yeah, this is definitely a real concern. I think we still have 4 or 5 years to go, so it is better to go with the low-hanging fruits first, and decrease the burn rate as much as possible, and that is the way we chose. We also start to invest in conventional type of businesses as well, to protect our capital. Yeah, we're finding ways. We're definitely going to survive these 4 or 5 years, and we're going to deliver. But when we have more capital available, we're going to go much more aggressive and go into higher risk products as well.
And tell me about Salvador, because you're also trying to build a community slash startup ecosystem while building all these other ventures.
Yeah. So yeah, it was 2019, right before COVID struck. We started this community house, which is focused on biotechnology and chemistry. So technology is more on those sides. But yeah, we get inspired by the biohacker spaces, the community, getting involved in science and developing, cutting edge technology. And yeah, it started like a hobby project, but then it got much bigger, and we engaged the Turkish community. We got people from San Francisco, people from Europe, Russia, everywhere actually, visiting us, being guests, and doing some experiments in the lab. We had 7 teams developing their prototypes in our lab. We got 3 companies out of it, some developing bacteriophages to treat bacterial diseases in animals. And then there was another company developing sustainable materials for 3D printing, for printing furniture. Yeah, we had many companies. It was like an accelerator. It actually didn't. It wasn't intended to. It started like this, a lab to rent and socialize with the community, the tech community. It really did well in that sense as well. But in time, it turned into an accelerator, where we focus more on, um, developing more startups, and especially getting them through the prototype stage, so that they can, fundraise, and then yeah, after because of this capital issue, we started to fail a bit in the startup side, because like the failure rates increased, the risk was not, we couldn't um, take that risk anymore. So we turned into consulting and then into investment, which led to the stage that we're in right now. But yeah, the journey was very important for us. It was a very good story as well. We learned a lot about the ecosystem, the local ecosystem, and what the early biotech company needs. It was actually a rogue approach. Because the distinction is, at that time, um, most of the startup companies were actually built in the universities as PhD students, together with a academician, a professor from let's say Ivy League universities, right? That was 75 to 80% of the time. And then the 20% is mostly companies from a garage lab, mostly developing a technology either based on electronics, mechatronics, or maybe something like bioinformatics, maybe, but more computer and machinery focused. For a completely wet lab focused biotech company, if they're not out of a university, for them it is quite difficult to build their first prototype with very limited amount of capital. So that was a proposed solution. Labrador was a proposed solution to that, and it actually enabled people, enthusiasts, to go right into wet lab work, and try to get some prototype that might be valuable in the market. And we try to guide them on the business aspect of it, and also in the R&D aspect. We provided these lab space, we provided some materials, and we helped them get the initial funding for their prototype research. So it was a proposed model. It was not the right time and not the right place to do it. That was the final conclusion we got to. Um, but definitely in the near future, maybe 5 6 years from now, we're going to try it again, at the right time, at the right place, and I think it will be very useful for the biotech startup community.
So what are your priorities this year?
Could you ask again, please? I
So
couldn't
what
hear
are
you.
your priorities this year?
My priorities. Right now, I'm more focused on getting this longevity product on the market. So we're heavily investing in the development of the product. And on the other side, the second most important priority for me is to protect the capital, and actually increase it if possible by investments, until the time is right for me to invest more in the therapeutic side, on the treatment side. So I'm actually using every opportunity to grow the capital we have, until it is the right time to invest in, as I said, much more risky and more fun at the same time, more fun projects. So yeah.
And in the last few years, what challenges have you faced that entrepreneurs can learn from?
Um, a lot, actually. I'm trying to um, filter. I would say I had a couple mistakes, you know, with these companies. I had some very solid mistakes. One of them is uh, assessing the market um, wrong and not doing the math very carefully. Um, I had this thought in my mind when I was investing in Gene Biotechnology with the therapeutics that we were developing. I had this thought that the capital will be there when we meet the milestone, right? So we had enough money to get to the milestone, but just enough money. Uh, and I expected the market to be stable. So I did not save anything and I run to the milestone and burn as much as capital to gain as much as time. We were actually short on the budget at that time, given that it's a wet lab research project which burns a lot. And then when the capital started to dry up, it was much more difficult than I expected to raise the second round. And it even got more difficult in time. So the gap get wider, and we couldn't reach the required capital in time, which is a miscalculation, which is actually a negligence on my side. So I think timing is very important, and you always need to save some capital because it is unpredictable. The market is unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen to the investor, to the also to the labor market. We had great transformations in the labor market. We lost a lot of talent through this, you know, after COVID, and even at the start of it, at the beginning of it. So yeah, these are the ones that I faced with Gene Biotechnology. And on Labrador side, again, the assessment phase was very important, and we again miscalculated it. We thought that having a um, local community in Istanbul, Turkey, which is a 20 million city of 20 million people, would be enough to fuel innovation, like enough innovation through our channel, right? But it didn't go as planned. It was actually much less than we thought. The talent we got there, who are, you know, focused and um, resilient, was not enough for the output required for the project. So again, timing, location, these were much more important than we thought at the beginning.
Right. Great lessons there. Arda, where can people find out more about you online?
Right now, the most active website we use is labrador.com, labredor.com. And they can reach out to me through LinkedIn, or even they can use like Instagram, Twitter. My handle is arda deniz dokuzoglu, as my name goes. And yeah, either through the website labrador.com or any of these social media accounts, I'm always available.